Hello everyone, I am Prozul Bazisai, first semester student of Project Management at Georgian College. The video is created for major individual assignment in collaboration and project management. The tutorial is on how to make a work breakdown structure and network diagram. I will be covering step-by-step preparation process for work breakdown structure and network diagram, key terminologies and points to consider in this video. I will be covering introduction of these tools in CERT, but you can refer to my other presentations for details on introduction, importance, and how these tools help us in project management. I hope this tool will enable you to prepare work breakdown structure and network diagram of your own. A work breakdown structure is a diagram where all the tasks required to fully complete a project is presented. Work breakdown structure contains all the activities in terms of work packages required for the project completion. We can see in Project Management Book of Knowledge definition of work breakdown structure, there are three key points that are: it should be deliverable oriented, it should be hierarchical, and it should be decomposition of the work that should be executed. Now let's look at various levels of work breakdown structure. Firstly, project or final deliverable is identified. Parts which constitute to make a complete deliverables are divided as second level, followed by divisions in details required as per project characteristics. The stages can be further divided to make it assignable to single individual or unit. They can be called work packages. Each work package should be unique and distinct. It is analyzed whether a work package can be further divided into smaller parts. It is likely that work that get missed in work breakdown structure are missed in real time and may cause hindrances in the project. Hence, it should be detailed enough to include all the activities required for the complete project. Now, let's take an example of organizing a birthday party as a project. So you have to prepare a work breakdown structure for this. So we have identified a birthday party as the major deliverables. So you can gather your team and brainstorm on what would be the steps and what would be required for a birthday party to be organized successfully. You can do brainstorming using sticky notes and start generating ideas and arrange it later in numbering as per headings. Now let's look at our work breakdown structure, which is done for you. A birthday party may require guest handling, venue, foods and drinks, cake, birthday gift, and event management as first level of deliverable, whereas they can be further subdivided as per the need of detailing in each activity. Let's take a look at guest handling, where it is further divided into shortlisting of the guest and sending invitation to the guest. Similarly, for the venue, maybe you will have to look for number of options to organize the party, and you will have to book a venue, and later you will have to do decoration for the birthday party. Similarly, these activities can be further subdivided into other smaller work packages where there are lots of detailing required, like in the example of foods and drinks, where we have divided it into snacks and main course, and further main course is divided into vegetarian, non-vegetarian, and special needs. Special needs may be something where guests may be allergic to some kind of food and you will need to have special arrangements for them. Similarly, we have kept cake in the second level of deliverable because it is very important to have a cake, and it may also contain lots of sub activities. Maybe you are baking your cake by yourself, or you are getting it delivered by the vendor. Similarly, all the activities are listed and they are subdivided into activities that will be required for them to complete. You may have to take attention on the numbering of the points because it will also highlight the level and hierarchy and also where the work packages belong to. Now let's talk about network diagram. All the information collected from work breakdown structure is used to develop network diagram. It can be considered as next phase of work breakdown structure. Network diagram is a visual flow diagram of the sequence interrelationship and dependencies of all the activities that must be accomplished to complete the project. It gives idea of time, duration of task, activity start and finish. It is used by project managers to make decisions concerning project time, cost, and performance. Let's start a network diagram using this example. So in this example, we have a table where there are activities, predecessors, and duration. So activities are a list of all the activities that are required to complete a project. For our example previously, to organize a birthday party, there are various activities. One of them may be organizing or inviting guests, decoration, and so on. So these activities A to Z are similar activities. Predecessor give information of sequence in the activities, like activity B has A activity as a predecessor, which means for activity B to start, activity A should be completed. Duration, which can be in days or as per project need, gives idea of how long the activity will take. For example, activity A takes 5 days to complete, whereas activity B needs at least 3 days. Here in our example, the flow of activity is such that activity A is our first activity and initiates the project. A is followed by B and B is followed by C. Activity C is a burst activity and leads to D and E. Similarly, activity F is a merge activity of its predecessor D and E. Finally, activity G is followed by activity F. After completing flow of activities, the next step is to complete a table, which is as follows. From the table, we have information on activity name and duration, which has to be filled for all the activities in the network diagram. Let's revise our steps. Now the tables are assigned for all the activities starting from A to Z. Now we can start filling up the table. We have to look at activity A. Since it is the first activity in the network diagram, it starts with 0 as early start because this is the first activity, and we know that this has duration of 5 days, so the early finish for this activity will be 0 plus 5, which will be 5. The early finish of activity A, which is 5 days, is carried to activity V as an early start because for activity B to start, activity A should be completed. Similarly, addition of 3 days duration for activity B to complete in its early start of 5 days gives 8 days as its early finish, which is also carried to activity C. When activity C is completed, activity D and E are started because activity C is burst into activity D and E. So in this case, early start of both D and E becomes early finish of activity C. When we calculate early finish dates of activity D and E, we come up with different numbers because they have different duration in days. So since we are doing this forward scheduling, we take the biggest number, which is 14 amongst the two, as early start date for activity F. The logic behind this is, since the activity F is merged activity of activity D and E, both of them must be completed. So in case of 13 days, activity E will be completed, but activity D won't be completed until activity 14. So when doing forward scheduling, we take the biggest number. Similarly, we can calculate early start and early finish for activity F and G. From the calculation until now, we have found that this project is going to take 19 days from the early finish date of activity G. So to continue forward, we will take early finish date of activity G as its late finish date to maintain the duration of the project. In activity G, since it has duration of 3 days, To reduce 3 days in 19, we have 16, which will be its late start. Similarly, we can continue this calculation until activity D and E. While calculating backward or doing a backward scheduling, we reach activity C, where late start of activity D and E are two different numbers. So while doing this part, we take the smallest number, which is 9, as a late finish date for activity C. We can continue subtracting the duration and reach to activity A. With this, we have calculated our network diagram and also figured out our critical path and activities which do not fall on this path. A critical path is flow of activities, which is the minimum duration of the project, and project schedule cannot be adjusted to reduce project time below duration of activities in this critical path. In contrast, slack or float, which can be observed in activity E. As we can see, activity E has flexibility to be started late by 1 day, as it does not fall in critical path. I have covered how to create a work breakdown structure and network diagram in this video. Now you can continue with the instruction and prepare your own work breakdown structure and network diagram with your team. I hope this tutorial was helpful. Thank you.